Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to start doing some of these voiceovers to these workouts since the voiceover parts are pretty easy and I've just been lazy about not doing them. So in this workout's the first one after my meet, the day after my meet, I decided to go back into the gym and do some heavy squats. So I have some SBD sleeves under my sweatpants that you can't see and a belt. So these are close or will be close to the heaviest squats I've ever done. My PR with a low bar squat with the belt and SBDs and all that is 455. On this day I was able to get to 445. I failed 465 two different times. I think if I was fresh that would be about where my max is, and I think on this day I had about 455 in me. If I would have dropped down or if I would have made that smaller jump to that, then I might have been able to get it, but I don't know. I just wanted to attempt that today and see about where my squat is. So went up to that 445, moved decently. Still have some things to work on as far as form and different things. After I did the squats, I went on to do some overhead press where I do a clean and then try to press. I failed my max, which is 175, although I think I've done 180 before at some point. I have very weak shoulders, so I got mad at them. Decided to do some drop sets with 135, did 2 sets of 8. Then went on to do some pulling, did some snatch grip deadlift. Wasn't worried about maintaining snatch form, just wanted to do some pulling. So I went up to 405 for a single with that. Then I threw on the chucks, the belts, and went up to 555 for a conventional deadlift single, which is the heaviest I've gone in a while. So it was quite a bit of work. And I don't know if I did any accessories. Oh, I did a bunch of leg press. That was the other. I did some random accessories for shoulders and stuff, some shoulder press, some rear delt flies, stuff I didn't record. And I also don't think I recorded the leg press, and that was something I actually did a significant amount of. I went up to 270 pounds, and I did like a set of 20 where I would pause them all. And the goal of that is to kind of work on that mid-range of motion where you kind of pull from the floor with the deadlift, as well as where I kind of get stuck with deadlifts. And it's something that I actually really like how that movement felt. I felt it in my hips a little bit, felt it in my legs, obviously, but that kind of like IT band side of my legs in a very good way. So it's something that I want to continue to add into my workout, and something that Derek Mortensen recommended that I try, and I decided to give it a try yesterday to see how they felt. He recommended also belt squats. Those are just a big pain to set up, so I may just stick with doing a lot of the leg press, and it's different than a typical machine press that you've seen that's kind of like at a big angle up. It kind of, you just push it straight forward, so the actual feeling of the movement felt a lot more, just a lot better. It was a really nice leg press machine. So stuff like that, or like hack squats or different things like that, but the leg press I really liked because it was kind of pushing from where I could do a deadlift, because I can't go all the way down like I can in a squat. And I think that's actually something that kind of, but my hips just didn't allow them to get as much work, because back when I was doing a bunch of deadlifts and low bar squats, my hips and back and all of that got tons and tons of work because of those movements and them being worked a ton in those. I know it's a bit redundant there, but doing that will allow me to continue to squat the way that I am. I'm going to stick with the high bar, and will wear the belt and the SPDs for competition, but I'll stick with that high bar position. I don't feel like trying to transition to that low bar, and I think it could theoretically lead to me using being able to do more weight with the deadlift, since I won't be as strained or using my back quite as much for those squats. And as you see, I did 445. My best is 455. So I don't know. I'm sure my low bar is probably a little bit higher than that, than what my PR is now if I would transition to that. But I definitely feel like I get more out of the SBD sleeves when I'm in a high bar position in the bottom. As you can see, I kind of like pop up, and partially that's just the way I squat, and that's also partially from the SBD sleeves kind of creating that compression, and it kind of limits how far I can go down before my hamstrings are on my calves, and that's a good cue that I use to pop up. And as you can see, I still go quite deep on those squats, but it's just something to work on. And I think as I get more accustomed to squatting heavy and pulling heavy again, those numbers will jump back up. I just haven't done heavy back squat in a while. I haven't done a heavy pull in a while, so I definitely haven't been used to that. Some other things that we have discussed with that is potentially adding some deficit pulls, not from an extreme deficit, but maybe with just like a mat or something on the floor to get used to, or getting me to have more power off the floor, lots of the leg presses, different things like that, obviously to work on the shoulders and continue to build that, since that's just a general weakness of mine and will also help the bench. But just doing things like that, I think will just generally help me to get stronger in general, which will help my lifts and during this time, just to work on the form of the lifts, and I don't know, just try to get better in every way that I can. But overall, this was I think a very productive workout. I went a bit heavier, but several people were surprised that I was at the gym. But weightlifting is a lot different than powerlifting. If this was powerlifting a day after a powerlifting meet, I would be very sore and not wanting to lift. With a weightlifting meet, it's actually less volume that I would do on a normal day, because you would have the heavy singles and then you'd go on to do like a front squat workout of some sort. And I don't know, you just don't really get sore from weightlifting in nearly the same way that you do in powerlifting. Of all random things that were sore from this weightlifting meet, my biceps were, which was really confusing because they've never ever gotten sore from weightlifting, but just randomly on that meet day, they were a bit sore. So I don't know how that happened or why that happened. Probably because I have bad form and I'm pulling too early or something. I'm sure it's related to that. But I generally want to get stronger and generally want to improve my form, so that's what I'll do during this block, and hopefully I hit some good numbers in January, and that gives me a good benchmark from which to build from for the meet that I have at the end of May, I believe. And at some point I may find a meet that's in between the January and May one, but it would be a weightlifting one. Haven't decided fully with that, or if I want to wait till the summer. I like the idea of competing a lot, because for someone like me that likes to just train, it's good for me to kind of test myself more and to push myself up. Otherwise, I just get complacent with training, and that's not necessarily bad. It allows me to, accumulate tons of volume, but I never push the weight up to a max for the day too often. With weightlifting, I got really accustomed to it. I really like that idea, and I actually saw a lot of benefit from it. So we'll see how all that works, and as I get more of the program from Derek, and as we figure that out, or I guess as he figures it out and I give him feedback about different things, I'll let you know about the ins and outs of what he recommends and what's going to go on for my prep. And I think this week is going to be like kind of like deload, and then next week we'll start like a 4-week block, and then like a week deload before the meet. So we'll see how accustomed I can get to doing the 3 main lifts again. Hopefully I can put up some good numbers in that point, but keep talking to you all during the journey there. So I'll talk to you all in the next video. I hope you're all having a great one. Thanks. Peace.